Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. And I thought for 9/11 I'd talk about my 9/11 Brooklyn memory / New York City memory, and also come to the place that kind of, I'm not in New York at this time, I'm in Sarasota, but if you folks remember, this elementary school right behind me, this is where President Bush was when he was reading the book, My Pet Goat, and he was reading it to the school kids, and this is exactly where he was when he heard the news that the planes had hit. So I just wanted to come here and do a video and also do a retrospective of all the people that I knew who we lost in 9/11, and everybody out there who has a story. So I figured I'd put my story down on some kind of tape or whatever you want to call this, digital, and just talk about my experience that day, and just figure this would be an appropriate place maybe to come, as it's kind of got different symbology for that day. So stay tuned, hope you enjoy the video. So the school where President Bush was is right behind me, and it's kind of got a no trespassing thing, so I don't want to go any closer than where I am. I'm on the street here. I'll put the address of it up right here. But for me personally, what did 9/11 mean to me? Well, we had our Hallmark store on Prospect Park West, 236 Prospect Park West, and when the planes hit, I was at the store. My son was in school right across the street at Holy Name of Jesus Catholic School, which is where my wife and I both went to school. Now it's called St. Joseph the Worker, became an academy, Catholic academy. So I was there. I was a class rep for my son's grade. So which class rep basically meant was that you would call the parents if it was a snow day or something was going on. So right away I got the call, and they had known I was right across the street. So a lot of times, like, I was over there obviously really quick because I was directly across the street. So when this all happened, they decided to get the kids out of the school as quick as possible, because no one really knew what was going to happen. It was a very strange, obviously very strange event. There were papers all flying in the sky. First one plane hit, then another plane hit. The call went out. I remember going over and taking my son Matt out, of course, and my nephew Michael, who was in school also at the time there, and helping out with as much as I could in the office. And then when we got everything settled and everybody was out of the school, I remember walking them down to my house, which was on Vanderbilt Street, and just walking through. I remember we had handkerchiefs over our faces because there was so many things flying in the air, burned pieces of paper, burning embers. Because if you've never been to Park Slope, it's very close proximity to Manhattan. Park Slope has the highest spot in all of Brooklyn, and from Park Slope you could see all of Manhattan, especially like if you're in Greenwood Cemetery or right at the top of the hill on Prospect Park West. So we were walking with these handkerchiefs over our faces, and it was a very scary thing because we really didn't know what was going to come next. I remember looking at the Statue of Liberty and thinking, is the statue going to be next? Which was a really strange feeling. But I think all these years later, thinking about 9/11, obviously, and again, all of us have lost from that. I mean, I'm not going to go into all the people who I knew, who we missed, because I knew a lot of people who were there, and a couple of schoolmates, and just a very strange time of, people who avoided it because maybe their cat was sick, and the other people who were there because they were just there. I had a friend of mine who actually was on the Port Authority police, and he took that position because I remember his mom was kind of scared that he'd get hurt as a cop, and so he thought that was going to be a little safer, but he happened to be in the towers at the time. So the moral of the whole thing is no one really knows what's going to happen in life. I mean, for me personally, I have what I call an 8/11, which is when my son Matt passed away. So I think what 9/11 has become 22 years later is, of course, it's a remembrance of that day, but it's also a kind of a day where everybody comes together and remembers those of us who were lost, and those people who kind of died suddenly, and those ones who died at the hands of maybe brutality or callousness or whatever you want to call that, what that is, terrorism actually, which is what that was. But so like I said, I just thought I wanted to come here today and put something on digital of my feelings of the day and remembering that day. And I remember, like I said, when it happened, I was in the back of my store. There's a company called Water Boy. We were getting a delivery of water. We had the water cooler in the store. And I remember the guy saying that day, no matter where we are, we're going to always remember 911. And sure enough, 22 years later, you remember 911. And of course, all those people who passed away and how much effect it had on the world for people who were deployed overseas, for all the things that have happened since then. It's, it kind of, I remember growing up, and for my parents and that generation, the World War II generation, their anthem was, remember 1941, December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. And not that Pearl Harbor Day is really forgotten about, but I think for the people of today, I think Pearl Harbor's kind of taken a second place behind 9/11, and I hope we never really have to have another day that takes the place of this one. But it's a strange, crazy thing. And I just, like I said, wanted to put that down. So yeah, I'm here in Sarasota. Big shout out to everybody. Love to everybody out there. Sympathy for everyone who's lost somebody. And like I said, for me, I never would have thought 22 years later or even whatever that my son Matt wouldn't be here. And then I'd be here talking about his loss, which was 8/11/19. But I think everybody in life has a 9/11, so to speak. And I think maybe that could be a day where everybody comes together and just not only remembers the people who were lost on that day, but the people who were lost suddenly, or the ones that we miss, or, obviously, we don't mourn on a particular day at a particular time. I mean, being a parent of a lost child, I know for me, it's obviously that day really hurts, but for me, it's the empty chair at the table all the time. It's the Thanksgivings, it's the Christmases, it's the everyday. And for me, who I was very close to my son, it's just being able to call him and talk about, what Marvel or Star Wars movie is coming out, what thing is going on in the world of music, which he was a musician. So it's the everyday stuff. But so for everybody out there, I just want to say I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everything's going as good as possible as it could go today. And I'll see you in the next video. Appreciate all the love and support. If you guys want to write in and give me an idea for a video, or just put down on the comments of the video, someone's going about 100 miles an hour down this road. It's crazy. 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, right? If you want to just write a comment for the people that maybe you lost, or the people you want to remember, and put it on the comment section, that would be pretty cool, maybe, and just so we can remember different people. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye.